I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 3 English lesson on regular past tense. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade 3, and then scroll down up until we get to the chapter of regular past tense. All right. So our chapter is regular past tense. Our subject is English Language Arts, grade 3, and the lessons that we are going to be focusing on today is to identify verbs in the regular past tense and which sentence is in the regular past tense. All right. So when it comes to the regular past tense, right? So firstly, tenses is to do with either present tense, past tense, or future tense, right? And when we talk about the past tense, right, in the past tense, it tells us about something that has already happened. So that is in the past, things that has already happened. And when we talk about the regular past tense, then it means that there's certain, let's say there's like a rule that you follow when it comes to the past tense. So in order to show that something has already happened, right? So past tense, it usually tells us about something that has already happened. And our regular past tense verbs, they end in ed. So they either end in ed or they end in just d, right? Because depending on the type of, let's say the type of verb, right? Or the type of tense. So for example, it says we washed the car a few days ago, right? So washed is our regular past tense verb, which means that this word in the present tense is wash, right? But in the past tense, it is washed. So all we did was we added an ed to that word in order to show the specific tense, right? So with the regular past tense verb, we basically add an ed, so it ends in ed, right? So we said it can either end in ed or just d, right? Depending on the type of verb. Like let's say, for example, your verb ends with an e. Let's say your word ends with an e, right? If your word ends with an e, like for example, dance, right? Then in the past, like the past tense would be danced. So you see, we didn't add ed, we just added a d because the word already ends with an e. And if we think of more regular past tense, right, then our regular past tense would be words like play, would be words like sing, no, not sing, that's an irregular. So it's play, it's jump, it is laugh, right? That is but a few regular past tense. So now, in order for us to change that tense, these words into the past tense, we will say like I play now, but yesterday I played with my ball. Like I jump over the fence. Yesterday I jumped over the fence. I laugh at the funny movie, but early on I laughed at the funny movie. So the past tense, it usually tells us about something that has already happened, right? And we add an ed to our regular past tense verb, right? And that is basically to show the tense. It basically shows that something has already happened. So we have washed, we have laughed, we have danced, we have played, jumped, right? So you basically have to follow the rule, and the rule is that the regular past tense verb, it ends in ed or it ends in d depending on the type of verb, right? Yeah, they say regular past tense regular verbs, right? So you have your rules, examples, and pronunciations, right? It depends also on how you need to pronounce the words. So we said that our, if we were to think of a verb, right? So like play, our verb is play, right? And if we were to add ed to our word, and then our word would change to played. Like is our verb, like I like her dress, right? In the past, we can say I liked her dress. And we basically just added a D. And the reason why we added the D is because that verb ends with an E. So if the verb ends with an E, all we do is we add a D to show our perfect tense or like to show our past tense, right? But if the word, like for example, over here, it does not end with an E, right? It just shows the specific verb, and then we add an ED to show the past tense, right? So I'm not going to show you this. That is when we go further or deeper into our tenses, right? But for now, these are the words that you need to remember. That regular past tense verb either ends in ed or D. That is that is either the letters or the word, or yeah, basically the letters that you add at the end of the verb. They usually call it like the suffix, but let's just say at the end of the word it is being added in order to show the past tense, right? It basically tells us about something that has already happened, right? So can you think of more past tense and how the word basically ends in ed or d. Can you think of more words? We have washed, laughed, danced, played, jumped. Regular past tense. Give me more examples of regular past tense. An action, something that you do. Like, for example, listen. Listen. What is the past tense of listen? The past tense of listen. And talk. What is the past tense of listen? What's the past tense of talk? So we need to say the past tense of listen. Think of this rule where we say that the regular past tense verb, it either ends in ed or just d. So the past tense of listen. You need to give me the past tense of listen. And if we were to give the past tense of listen, all right, so listen, I listen now. In the past, or yesterday, or last night, I listened. So listened, and all we did was we added an ed to that word. Talk. Talk. We can say talked. We talked about certain things. Yes, play. Now, what is the past tense of play? So we have play, but now give me the past tense of play. All right. Yes, well done. So just put that words together and make it one word, right? So well done. Played is correct, but you must basically just write it as one. So it must be written as one, but well done. Played is together. So all you do is you add ed to that word, still becomes one word, right? But it just shows the past tense verb. It tells us about something that has already happened. Like we played soccer, it happened already, right? Think of watch. Watch. What is the past tense of watch? So watch. What is the past tense of watch? The past tense of look. We need to give the past tense of watch, the past tense of look, All right. So if we were to choose our, let's say to say the regular past tense, then we can say that is watch. Watch is now, but in the past tense, it is watched, and we add an ed. The same with look. So we can say looked, and we added our ed, right? So watched and looked. All right. So now before we go to aplusstudents.ca, all right, so if we look at the picture cards, look at the picture cards that we see in front of you. I'm not sure if you guys can see. Okay, so I'll rewrite the words, right? Oopsie. So the first word, right? The first word is wave. Then we have jump. We have turn, open. We have dance, hop. Let's go to touch, reach. All right. So if we look at these words, right? So now if we were to add our, let's say our rule, which is either to add ed or d to our words, then these words will then change from a present tense to a regular past tense. All right, and if we were to change these words into a past tense, and then we will say wave, like I wave now, but in the past, I can say I waved. So all I did was I added a D. I jumped over the fence last week. I jumped over the fence. I turned on the music. I turned on the music. I opened the door. Opened is our past tense verb. Danced, touched, and reached. Right? So that is our past tense verbs. All right. So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca. All right. So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca, And this is where we're going to be doing our tutorial lesson and then our test. So our chapter is regular past tense. And the first lesson that we're going into is to identify verbs in the regular past tense. All right. So if we look at these three words, right, or three sentences, see that regular past tense, it tells us about things that has happened already in the past, right? And there's certain rules that we need to follow, and that is either to add ed or d to a specific verb in order to show the past tense, right? To show the past tense. All right. So now if we look at the first sentence, we need to select the past tense verb within the sentence, right? It says, the dog wagged its tail. The dog wagged its tail. We need to identify the past tense verb. Mhm. All right, so the dog wagged its tail. So if we were to select the past tense verb within that sentence, the action that takes place, we will say wagged is the past tense verb. Wagged. The next one says, the father dried the baby after her bath. The father dried the baby after her bath. Yes, dried is correct. So, which means that father dried, well done, the baby after her bath, which means that the present tense form of the word dried is dry, right? And in order to get the word ied, all right. So wagged and dried is correct. And then we have another sentence where we need to select the past tense. It says, Malia and her father folded the clothes. So Malia and her father folded the clothes, we need to select the past tense verb. Somalia and her father folded the clothes. We need to select the past tense verb. All right, and if we were to select our past tense verb, then it will be folded. So folded is the past tense verb, right? So folded. So the present tense is fold, but in the past I folded the clothes. All right, so well done. So now we're going to our test, right? Where we are going to identify the verbs within the regular past tense. So we're going to identify the verbs within the regular past tense. So we need to select the past tense verb. It says she tried something new. She tried something new. Is our past tense verb something or is it tried? So remember the verb, the action. That says she tried something new. Is it something or is it tried? All right. And if we were to choose the correct one, we would say she tried something new. So tried, yes, is our past tense. So well done. Tried. Option two is correct. So Pancho attacked the math test. Pancho attacked the math test. We need to select the past tense verb, either attacked or math. And if we were to select the past tense verb, remember we are underlining the action, something that is happening. And if we were to choose the correct past tense verb, we will say it is option one, which is attacked. All right, so attacked is correct. Well done. No, not math, attacked. Because remember, we are making mention of the verbs. So whether it's verb in the in the past, right? But verbs, we are identifying the verbs. Who turned up the music? So who turned up the music? We need to select the past tense verb. All right, so who turned up the music? And if we were to select the past tense verb, we would use turned, right? And that is our regular past tense. All right, so that is basically us selecting our different verbs, right? So now we're going on to which sentence is in the regular past tense. Which sentence is in the regular past tense? All right, if we look at the first one. All right, we are almost done. Almost done. Just a few more minutes and then we're almost done. It says the fat frog hopped into the pond. The fat frog hopped into the pond. What is our regular past tense? All right. So if we were to, for example, say which sentences is in the past tense, it says the fat frog hopped into the pond, which means that hopped is our verb in the past tense into the pond, right? Which means that this sentence is definitely in the past tense. All right. Here it is. I chopped the carrots. I chopped the carrots. If we were to identify the verb, right? Remember the verb is the action, something that somebody's doing. Then chopped is the verb. And here the clown amused us, right? Amused is our regular past tense verb. All right, so now we're going to our test where we are going to say which sentence is in the regular past tense. Which sentence is in the regular past tense? It says, which sentence is in the past tense? Henry clapped his hands, or Russell will complete the test. Which sentence, option one or option two, that says which sentence is in the past tense? We need to say which sentence is in the past tense. Look at the verb within the sentence. So if we were to select the sentence in the past tense, all right, and if we were to say which sentence is in the past tense, and then we will choose option one because it says Henry clapped his hands, and clapped is our regular past tense. All right. We need to select the past tense. All right. And we can then say the first one is the woman curls her hair. So nope. But the second one that says the dog dragged the kite, right? Because the word dragged shows our past tense verb. So the dog dragged the kite. So dragged is that is our sentence in the past tense. One more minute. The God allowed us in, or do we say and will earn the money, right? And if we were to select the sentence in the past tense, then we can say that God allowed us in, because allowed is our regular past tense verb. So all we did was we added ed to show the past tense form of the verb, right? All right. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson, grade 3. Thank you very much for joining the class. We did regular past tense. And remember, tenses are to do with either present, past, or future tense. But since we did the regular past tense, right, the past tense shows or talks about something that has already happened. And we follow a rule by either adding ed to a word or d in order to show the past tense verb. But this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade threes, for joining our class. And I really hope you're going to have a good evening further. Goodbye.